Are we live? Are we?
Yes.
Oh, yes. I never heard my phone up, so like that kind of jackass. Hey, we'll give you guys a few minutes for y'all to get here. We are live with lucky clutch number 7. Now, as you're going to look at there and you're going to say, but Matt, that clutch hasn't pipped, and you'd be right. But it's 58 days, and we always cut either at first pip or 58 days, or I just can't stand to wait anymore.
But there's only 6 eggs. You said lucky number 7.
There is only 6 eggs. Thank you, Kurt. But it's the 7th clutch of the year, and this was our banana bred to our black pastel, which last year threw this beautiful animal right here. So this is what we're looking for. We're looking for some of these, and they won't have spots when they're born. Obviously, they come in later, but this would be the ultimate goal and what we want in this clutch. Now, we named this video Lucky Number 7. That's either going to prove to be true or prove to be a lie. We're going to hope for true, right? Of course, before we do this, we're going to disinfect. And yes, I know, this is not up to like hospital standards or anything. But you know what? We're not a hospital, so that's okay. I don't need to be at hospital standards. Because, again, we're not a hospital.
We're not a surgical center?
We're not a surgical center. I'll tell you what we are, though. Even though we're not up to hospital standards, I'm going to be willing to bet we're probably still cleaner than a Civil War era hospital on the battlefield.
Someone asked, what's the possibles?
Possibles would be black pastels, bananas, banana black pastels, and normals. Just 2 genes at play here. So, but one of my favorite banana pairings is definitely the banana black pastel. All right, how many people we got on here, Kurt?
54.
54. We're going to go ahead and start cutting. And don't hesitate to, if somebody makes a comment you want to share, just share it. Just bring it on to me. Just on right along here. So let's just hear them if they comment them. If it's a troll, then just delete them and tell them they can, eat a piece of my anatomy or something. Let's get this rolling. Ooh, these are juicy. These are very, very juicy. This is going to be a very juicy cutting. See what I mean?
Someone asked, what do you think would be the next step if you had a black pastel banana to pair it with?
Well, I'm going to try for the super black pastels, but that doesn't come without its own issues. So, you got to be careful with that, obviously. Try some theories on it. See if we can get to work for us. And there is snake number 1. We can see the veins are already sliding off there. And I cannot tell what that is for sure through all that goop. Okay, let's just leave that one set. Goopy, goopy egg. I can find a good spot to pinch. What I like to just pinch is kind of roll it, just make sure that the veins are off of there. And that looks to be a black pastel.
Someone said bigger flap.
Yeah, we don't do bigger flaps, and the reason we don't is because I don't want to force these out of the egg. We're just cutting to check on them. And, I know that'll make for better viewing. Trust me, I do. But I'm less worried about viewing and more worried about my babies. So we do a small flap just so we're not forcing anything out before it's time. There we go. That's what we're looking for there. And you can definitely see the banana color in that one. I think that is going to be a banana black pastel. Reactive. Very, very nice. So I think we got one. I'm pretty sure we've only got the one, because this one here that I can't really see well into, because look at the bottom, I can tell it's probably not a banana, so it's either going to be a normal or a black pastel most likely. course, I can't tell for sure until it rolls over. But we got a black pastel, what I think is a banana black pastel. And by having a smaller flap, my belief is that you have less chance of the baby coming out of the egg feeling uncomfortable too early and causing you issues down the road.
So someone asked what the odds are of hitting both.
1 in 4 for everything. And that one looks to be just a normal. See, it's moving around in there. And see how light that is, though? What that tells me is even though those veins have descended, these are probably going to set in the egg for a few days. Why this clutch has taken so long, I do not know. It's been incubated with the rest of them. But I don't imagine they're going to crawl out very quick, and that's okay, because that color usually comes at the very, very end. So they'll probably hang out in there for a couple days. This clutch probably wouldn't have opened up until probably day 62 or 63 on its own, which is unusual for ours. Usually we're opening at about day 56 on average. The veins are descended too, which is strange.
Are pastel and black pastel allelic?
They are not, I do not believe, and that's a black pastel. You can see in the pattern there, definitely a black pastel. Really nice one too. The veins from the egg have also descended, which means the eggs are about ready. So that's kind of a strange thing. We'll kind of see what comes out of there. And no, they'll make a pewter when you breed them together. They just sound like they should be because of the name, but they're not. They both just have pastel in the name, but they're completely unrelated from each other. Why they did that, I do not know why people pick the names they pick. But they just do. Last one. Okay, are we going to go out with the bang, Kurt?
Probably. 4th of July, so.
Well, it's not the 4th, it's like the 1st. And another upside down snake. But I don't think banana's in there. Wow! If what I'm seeing is correct, you're good to go. We may have only hit one banana in this entire clutch.
Someone asked, are we trying for holdbacks on this?
On this clutch, no. On this clutch, we're really not. Basically, well, I'm going to be kind of disappointed if we only hit one banana. I love bananas. Bananas are cool. So, but you can't win at the odds game all the time.
Is there anything allelic to black pastel or banana?
To banana, no. Well, coral glow is, but coral glow is not really allelic. It's the same thing. So what I think we have is several black pastels. 2 of them I can't see very well because they're flipped over, and we have 1 banana black pastel. The reason I know it's black pastel is I'm pretty certain in the pattern you can kind of see it's got a lot of lavender. So that's good, but all in all, not as many bananas as we'd like to see, but that's okay, and I'll explain why in a minute. Now the 2 black pastel cinnamons allelic. So if you breed a black pastel cinnamon, you can get a Super 8 or an 8-ball complex, be almost an all-black snake, but you run into kinking issues. So there's a chance that you can have a lot of kinked babies. And I just said I'm going to do the same thing with super black pastel, putting my black pastel banana back to my black pastel female, and I am. And yes, I am well aware that I run the risk of kinked babies, but I do think that there are some things I can do to possibly lower that. And we'll see. If my theories don't work and we have a bunch of kinked babies, then I'll never do it again. And I know somewhere somebody's screaming, if you already know, blah, 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 blah. I've heard all that before, so I'll save you your time on it. everybody's heard that. So like anybody, if you're gonna yell at me for doing it, you should yell at everybody. You need to go on YouTube and really search everybody that's ever done that and scream at them for a while. But the fact is, I think that there may be some things within incubation that can help with that in development. And so you are going to see us do that. That will be a clutch you'll never see us cut. Well, let's take that back. You'll never see us like cut at day 58 when we do that clutch. You will still see us cut. I will do it live like I do everything. But we're going to let that one go, and we're going to lower incubation temperatures to a very low incubation point and a separate incubator to control it at a tighter point. And instead of incubating at 90, I'll probably incubate about 87. And hopefully the slower time will help with the kinking. I've read and talked to people who believe it can, some theories on that's why I want to do it. We'll see what happens. Will it? I don't know. But I'm going to give it a shot because I think I could make an all-purple snake, and I really want to do that. I also have some other ways I can work to make an all-purple snake that don't have the kinking issues, so we're working towards that as well. So there you go. And that all comes from the allelic question. So nothing's allelic with banana, except for coral glow, and that's not really allelic. They're literally the same damn thing. And black pastel is allelic with cinnamon. That's your answer. Anything else, Kurt? You're thinking about something.
What do you do with kinked babies?
With kinked babies, it's going to depend. I mean, and that's the thing. We've never actually had a kinked baby here. Never had one. Now, if you get something that is severely kinked where it cannot function, okay, like it can't function, it's not going to function, it's going to die, it's not going to survive, then, you know, there's no point in struggling that animal out, keeping that animal around and letting it struggle. And I don't like waste, so it will be used for food. Not for me, it'll be used for food for another reptile. That's the unfortunate truth of it. Now, if we have one that's got just a kink, that's just a minor kink or a kink that's survivable, it can do everything it needs to do, it just shouldn't be bred because you should never breed a kinked animal, then what I'll basically do is I'll probably find somebody that I know who wants a pet, and we'll probably donate that as a pet only with a signed contract saying it can never be bred, it is a pet quality animal only, and it can't be bred because of kinking, and yada yada yada. And if you choose to breed it, you owe me an instant $10 million. That way nobody breeds it, and we'll just take care of it that way. So that's what we'll do.
Someone asked, how does one euthanize a snake? Do they take it to the vet like a cat or dog?
Could.
People are saying Sobek.
Sobek would be the way we'd euthanize that. That's actually correct. Sobek is a very, very fast form of euthanization. It's going to be over really, really quick. Sobek. Euthanization by Sobek, I guess. And for those of you that don't know, Sobek's a dwarf caiman, and he will handle that job. You can also freeze. I mean, there's people that do that. There's some thoughts on that. Some people say it can cause all these cellular issues and cause a lot of immense pain. Others say it doesn't. Everything shuts down before that starts to happen. So I don't know on that. Snakes do not respond well to gassing for euthanasia. Their respiration is so slow, it just is not a very effective way of doing it. If you don't believe me, watch. There's videos you can see where people are trying to put snakes under anesthesia for surgery using a snake tube and cotton balls soaked in, I don't remember what drug, to just knock them out, and just watch how long that takes. It's because they don't respond well to that. So gas isn't a good way. I mean, not to get too descript, but I mean, you can also do a spinal dislocation, which is dislocating the spine from the brain, usually done by removing the head from the body. Many don't like that. When you do that, it is going to be deceased. It's going to be deceased right then. However, because it's a snake and the way they work different than us, you will still see them moving around a lot.
Someone,
Sobek.
some people are asking about updates on the Xanthic clutch.
Oh, yeah. What do you want to see?
Well, we can do a video over it, but they want to know when the video is going to be.
Oh, when the video is going to be. Well, the video won't be out for a while on that because that's clutch number 6. And we just released clutch number 3 today. So we have to update on clutch number 4 and clutch number 5 before we get to clutch number 6. And they're all doing good. Some of them have fed, some haven't. Like this little guy here. You're all like, really, that's what you're going to pull out? This little guy here has fed. So that one has shed and fed. And that's number 7. And to not be completely disappointing, this one has also fed. And this is, of course, one of the Xanthic siblings right there. So those are both fed. Those are the only two that ate. Of course, we offered them food the very next day that they were out. I take that back. This one ate too. So this one also fed. And that one looks like it's going to try to feed on my hand. Stop that. So this one also fed here. So it's in the ball. It's not Captain Pissy like the other one. So
Someone asked, what's your favorite clutch so far?
my favorite clutch so far this year. Oh man, that should be an easy one. Oh, I know, you're just so big and badass. Oh my god, you're such a badass. Boop, boop. There you go. Let's not break any teeth off. It's not good for you. Oh yeah, you can hiss at me. I know. You're super Billy badass. I get it. My favorite clutch is the one I'm showing you now. It's the Xanthic clutch. That goes without saying. And the reason it's my favorite is because of this right here. This one has not eaten. It was the last one to shed. It's a super pastel Xanthic. And I didn't have one of these, and now I do. So that's why that's probably my favorite clutch of the year. It's also a clutch I felt good about on the odds. And it's also the clutch I probably had the least confidence in when we started cutting it. The reason being is the male, the male I used was sold to me as a pastel Xanthic female SK line. It ended up being a male. And so then you start wondering, God, what if they got the line wrong too? And if they got the line wrong, that means I have 2 years of things that I've screwed up. And you really start to worry about that. So that it proved out to be the right line, and we hit the odds, and I got the snake I wanted. Then I didn't give a shit about the rest of it. Now, did I? I was like, done, I'm happy, we're good, we're gold, it's all awesome.
Which
So
do you like, black pastel or blackhead?
Well, God, that's hard to say because I don't know any blackhead yet, so I haven't had the experience with blackhead. So right now I tell you why I like black pastel because what it does with banana. But the simple thing is I don't have the experience with blackhead, and blackhead's on our list of things we want to add possibly this year. So I know I can't really say because I just don't have the experience with both of them to make an educated choice on that. If that makes any sense. Tall Grass Reptiles has a lot of experience with blackhead. And if we add blackhead, I'm pretty certain that's where it's going to be from, most likely. But we're also going to add clown, and I also mean more clown. And there's some other projects we're going to try to get into this year. So
Someone said you should try Xanthic Blitz.
Don't rule it out. But there's a few things I need to do with that Blitz project before I push the Xanthic into it. But don't rule it out. That'll probably happen at some point. I don't think Xanthic Blitz together would be as pretty as I want it to be by itself. I think it needs some extra genes in there to really take off. To make like a fire pastel Blitz Xanthic, I think would be out of this fucking world. There was a bad word. I think a pastel fire without a fire Blitz Xanthic may be out of this world too. I know I want to push some yellow belly into my Blitz. I want to see where, before I take that into Xanthic, I have to take it some other things to really see how best to get the color to be what I want for the Xanthic to wash it out in the way that I want. I know that sounds overly complicated, and I am making a simple problem very complicated, but the fact of the matter is, there's certain looks I want to make, and to get to that I have to be very selective in how I do things. It's not as simple as just these two genes going together all the time. Sometimes it is. Black pastel banana, simple as those two genes going together, but it just depends what you're making. So yeah. Anything else, Kurt, before we hop off here and slide over to Patreon?
How do you track your snakes, and what programs do you use? Do you log anything?
Oh yes, we do, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, it is very, very high tech. We have an amazing program. It's cost us a ton of money to get, and I think I paid like $4 or $5 for this purple notebook. I hope that's peanut butter, but it might be rat shit on it. There's that rat shit on the notebook. Oh God, that's gross.
But that's tracking the feeding. Do we track anything else?
This is tracking the feeding. Yes, we do track some other things. I don't have a program per se because
Excel maybe.
Well, yeah, you can say Excel. I don't have like this program here. And I track every year. Besides tracking the feeding, you can kind of just see how we do that. It's really quite simple. There's nothing overly hidden, And then we went to this, so if we move a snake, we can simply pop it out and move the page over. And then online, or not online, on my computer, on a spreadsheet, I track all the pairings. Not every time I see them lock, but like who the pairing was, how many eggs they laid, how many slugs they laid, what all hatched from it, and then who bought what. So I can look and say, oh, I know so and so bought this, or this was sold at a show. So it'll either say like sold at show, sold at show, sold at show, sold to John Q. Smith, sold to John P. Smith, Patreon special, sold as a Patreon special, pre-sale Patreon to John Smith, pre-sale Patreon John Smith, pre-sale Patreon John Smith, and it's all logged with those numbers that you see down here, 301, 302, 303, 304. So that's how we kind of track that. What's nice, I can go back from year to year to year. I can look at a female and be like, okay, she gave me 8 eggs, she gave me 7 eggs, then she gave me 4 eggs. So what's going on, Or I can watch her growth and see where she kind of levels out at, and I kind of know how they're all doing that way. So I also know the results of my pairing. So I have a female that threw me some slugs, like my albino has thrown me slugs the last 2 years. Years before that, she threw great babies. So in the last 2 years, she's been paired to the same male. That male with another female threw a perfect clutch. So I don't think the male's bad, and I know she's not bad, but that pairing may just be a bad pairing. I'm going to put a different male to her next year and see. And if next year I put a different male to her and she doesn't throw any slugs or not like she did, then I'll know, okay, I should never really pair those two together for whatever reason. Something doesn't work with those two, and I can kind of get that all from that. And that is a really long, complicated answer. It was probably a very simple question. All right, anything else? And then we're going to slide over to Patreon.
No.
That's it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Don't think we killed it today. We got some nice black pastels, and we got what I think is going to be one banana black pastel. So, not horrible, but I was hoping for a little bit more color in there than I saw. But you know what? If they all come out healthy and happy, then I don't give a shit. And we'll make these, of course, available on Patreon once they're first ready. And then if they don't all sell there, they'll go to the general public. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and we're going to bounce over to Patreon, and we'll see you guys really quick.